Fantastic Four, First Steps, the latest entry into the MCU, just wasn't that fantastic.
Say it!
Directed by Matt Shakman, who worked on WandaVision and, of all things, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Fantastic Four tells the story of the Fantastic Four. The movie opens with the Marvel Studios logo and the Marvel Studios fanfare. However, they are slightly different than usual. They've been Fantastic Fourified, if you will. That lets the audience know that they are potentially in for something a little bit different. Not your usual MCU entry. Then we get an opening title card telling us that this is Earth 818, whereas the Earth of the MCU, I believe, is Earth 199999, and the comic book Earth is Earth 616. That's my understanding of it, but let me know in the comments if I've got that wrong. Anyway, the Earth of this movie, of this Fantastic Four, it's not the same Earth that has Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, etc. They get the origin story of the Fantastic Four out of the road in the opening 10 minutes with the help of a kind of talk show style newsreel footage montage, so that's quite good that they don't dwell on that too much. The Fantastic Four have been protecting Earth for a few years. All is well in the world. That is until the arrival of the Silver Surfer. She has arrived on behalf of her boss, Galactus, to inform the people of Earth that yeah, they're all going to die, they're going to get eaten by her boss, who is, the giant Galactus. The people of Earth look to their protectors, the Fantastic Four, to save them. They go about trying to do just that, and the plot is off and running. Story-wise, they're not really breaking any new ground here, they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's actually not too dissimilar to 2007's Rise of the Silver Surfer storyline-wise, but at least Galactus this time isn't a giant cloud. The dialogue is fine, there's no cringy lines, there's no overly awkward, heavily expositionally monologue type scenes. The four leads do fairly well in their respective roles. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, and Eben Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm, aka the Thing. I'll be honest, when the cast was announced, I was fine with everyone apart from Pedro Pascal, believe it or not, as Reed Richards. As good as Pedro Pascal is, I was a little bit apprehensive about him as Reed Richards. Let's face it, Reed Richards, the character, is not known for being, an overly handsome, overly charismatic human being, whereas that is pretty much how you would describe Pedro Pascal. That being said, now that I've seen the film, I think he does fine in the role, as does Joseph and Vanessa in their respective roles. However, the standout cast members for me are actually Eben Moss-Bachrach as the Thing and Ralph Ineson as Galactus, which is ironic because other than some archive news style scenes of Eben Moss as Ben Grimm, both those roles are voice roles and performance capture roles, so it's ironic that they're the standout performances of the movie. However, they totally are. Eben Moss-Bachrach's voice, his charm, his attitude does really shine through the digital suit of rock that he wears, and Ralph Ineson's voice is undeniably perfect for the planet-eating giant Galactus, and I'm pretty sure they used his likeness for the face of Galactus as well, although I'm not 100% on that, but it definitely did look like him. Tone-wise, it's a bit more serious and a bit more grounded than the previous incarnations of the Fantastic Four, a little bit more grown-up. The theme of family and sacrifice is handled quite well. Pace-wise, it zips along at quite a fast pace. The runtime is a brisk 1 hour and 55 minutes, which if you take away the credits, that's probably closer to 1 hour 45 minutes. So definitely one of the shortest MCU movies in recent memory. And that's a good thing. Speaking of credits, there is the usual mid and post-credits scene, so be sure to stick around for them. Cinematography-wise, looks-wise, it's definitely got a unique look to it. It's not your typical MCU entry in terms of how it looks, because it's got that whole retro future look to it with the feel and the technology of the time. It's kind of like retro future, things like Tomorrowland, things like the Jetsons. It's almost like technology has progressed to where it is today in this Earth, without the help of microchips and supercomputers. So, you know, they still use things like vinyl records for audio recordings, but, you know, they're like almost like high-tech vinyl records. Little touches like that help sell the difference of this Earth compared to the typical MCU Earth. So yeah, the visual aesthetic, the cinematography stood out as being not the usual MCU look in a good way. The score. I think this might divide people, but I didn't personally love the score. And I'm a huge fan of Michael Giacchino, but for this one, I just didn't vibe with the score at all. It almost took me out of the movie at times. And I know people online have talked about how much they love the score, but I just didn't vibe with it, unfortunately. And that's probably what I would say about the movie as a whole. I just didn't click with me. It's not that it's bad, but it's definitely not great. The story was a little too by the numbers for me. I was maybe hoping for and expecting something, I don't know, a little bit different with the story. Now I know they're dealing with Galactus and his motivations are, you know, not exactly a secret. It's been a comic character for like 60 plus years. But yeah, I was hoping for something a little different and a little more less by the numbers story-wise. I was just left feeling quite cold towards the overall movie. I was left feeling quite cold towards the characters and whatnot. I just didn't connect to it. Speaking of connections, you can connect with me on social media. I am at Scottish Geek Guy on Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter, we're still calling it Twitter, and Blue Sky. And obviously, you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know why. It just seems like the Fantastic Four is a tough nut to crack when it comes to the big screen adaptations. The Tim Story movies from the early 2000s, one which is there. They're fun, but they're not exactly groundbreaking, and they're fairly forgettable. And then the more recent one in the was it 2016? It was from Josh Trank. Great looking steelbook, but not a great movie at all. Although I really did like what Toby Kebbell did with his Doctor Doom in that. I think the hospital scene in that Fantastic Four, it's almost like a horror movie, like a David Cronenberg body horror thing. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, Fantastic Four movies in general haven't hit home on the big screen, at least not for me, this one included. I just wasn't really that invested in the characters, as I said. I wasn't that invested in their fate, at least not until the last 10 minutes, but I won't get into why that was, because that's pretty spoilery. Perhaps the alternative Earth vibe was a little bit too alienating for me, or dare I say it, is comic book movie fatigue finally setting in? No, it's definitely not that. I am looking forward to seeing what they do with these characters, or at least some of these characters, in future MCU projects. But as a standalone film, Fantastic Four First Steps just didn't quite grab me. I wouldn't have thought that of the 3 MCU movies released in 2025, Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four First Steps, I wouldn't have thought that Thunderbolts would be my favourite by quite some margin. But that's where we are. Likewise, with the 3 big movies this July, Jurassic Park Rebirth, Superman and Fantastic Four First Steps, I definitely wouldn't have thought that Fantastic Four First Steps would be at the bottom of those 3. And yet it is. So that's us, folks. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of Fantastic Four First Steps? Did you vibe with it? Am I kind of alone on this island? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments what you think of the other Fantastic Four movies as well. Am I the only one that really liked the hospital scene in Josh Trank's Fantastic Four? I'll put my reviews to the other MCU movies this year on screen here, and I'll catch you in the next video.